Welcome to the apex of sports ownership, the Apex Athletic Collective.
Welcome in, everyone, to episode 95 of Instigate Success. I'm your host, as always, Jake Schoen, aka Jakey Muffins, here for the official Hoosier State Instigators podcast. We actually got some Instigators news this week, um, and might as well get started and jump right in. We're at episode 95. Pretty crazy to think we're 5 away from 100. Let's see what that puts us at as far as the weeks. Actually, next week is 4th of July. Got the holiday next week's episode. Put us the 1st of August, I think, is going to put us at episode 100. So we'll be make sure we do something for that. But so to start things off for this week's episode 95. If you haven't already seen, we made a post the other day on social media. We have big thing coming up here for the Instigators. July 12th. That is just about 2 weeks away. So tomorrow would be 2 weeks away. It is another tryout. So we have a tryout this time in Indy, and it is at the Harrison Center at 1 p.m. July 12th. It is an amazing opportunity for anybody that is interested in becoming an instigator to show up and ball out. You can sign up now. If you scan that QR code, you get yourself a $10 discount by signing up online. It's $65 compared to $75 at the door. Always welcome to show up at the event and pay at the time there, but you do get a $10 discount for signing up in advance. But really looking forward to this one. I know Corey and I talked about this last week, but this event, this tryout, you know, we kind of have an idea with some of the guys we want, but we're still looking to fill up the roster. So we still have plenty of spots left. Depending on how this tryout goes, though, this could be the last tryout. So just depends on the turnout of everything with it. So not guaranteed to have another one after this. It depends how things go with this. So if you're thinking about it, have any thoughts of even becoming or trying possibly becoming an instigator, go ahead, sign up now, and show up to this one, because we can't guarantee there's going to be another one. But this is an amazing opportunity with it being in Indy. I think the turnout's going to be amazing for that. And we saw last season in our tryouts, they continued to have more and more show up as we had the tryouts later on in the off season. So I think this one is going to be a great turnout, and hopefully we kind of bolster that roster, have a good idea of where we go as we look into some game scrimmages, etc., over the off season and throughout the summer. So hopefully we can build the team chemistry through that, and hopefully soon we'll have some announcements as far as guys that we're going to be signing. Obviously we're going to have some, or we hope to have some returning guys, and then obviously some new guys as well. And this is great chance for that to happen. If you ball out, you got the opportunity to become an instigator at the event there. So this is a big one, definitely something we got circled on our calendars, and it's just a couple of weeks away. But we'll be continuing to post this on social media. And if you know anybody that you think would be a good fit for the Instigators, definitely tag them, share it, spread the word. We are trying to get the best player pool possible. And, obviously, it's going to come down to who we got showing up and all that. But ultimately, we love to have the fans involved as well. So if you have a guy that you want to be part of the Instigators, go ahead, shoot them a message, and tag them or whatever, and we can try to get them out for this tryout. Um, but that is just a couple of weeks away. We'll talk about it next week as well. But this one at the Harrison Center in Indy, 1 p.m. July 12th. So that is the big Instigators news for this week. But that is, a huge thing coming up. And really, once we have this trial, I think we're going to have a good idea of kind of where we stand with the roster. And we'll have some announcements coming up soon. Again, hopefully with, roster announcements, players signings, and you think about it, that'll put us in July. So just a few more months after that, until we get into the season. Season is going to be October again. Um, so that is puts us what, 4? Puts us less than 4 months. We're 4 right now, so puts us, yeah, just a few months, like 2 to 3 months at that point. By the time we wind up going into the preseason games, so not a ton of time, until we hit the countdown on the calendars and get the games going. That leads us into the other Instigators news, for this week. Um, and I don't think we officially like posted anything or pushed this out yet. But I know we mentioned it, I think on last week's podcast, that we are launching early bird season tickets. So this, I think we'll be making an announcement over the weekend on this, as far as on our social media. So be on the lookout for this. But here's an exclusive sneak peek, for the early bird season tickets. So the early bird season tickets are going to be, they're actually launched right now. If you go over to our, ticketing site, over on, Go Passage, the site that we used last season for the ticketing. It's also like if you go when you go to sign up for the tryouts, it's that website too. But it's the Passage website for the Instigators, as far as tickets go, and you can get your season tickets now at a discounted rate of $49.99. You might be thinking, how many games is that? So again, on our schedule, we're going to have 20 games total. Half of those home, half of those away. This is going to get you access to all of the home games. And in case you're wondering on, does it include tickets for playoffs? It does. So if the Instigators make it to playoffs or play-in games, in the postseason, it does include any home games for that as well. And our home venue is going to be, for the first time, we're returning to a home venue. It's going to be Best Choice Fieldhouse again. So we're looking forward to that. Great venue that we were at last season. Going to be our first time returning. It's obviously our third season, but our first time returning to a venue. So hopefully we can continue to build that fan experience there, and build upon that. And it's a great atmosphere already, but we hope to continue to build each and every year, each and every week, with the Instigators, and cementing ourselves in that environment, making that, as best as possible. But if you haven't come out to any of the games at Best Choice Fieldhouse, amazing place to go to. You got basically front row seats wherever you choose to sit. You can sit on the sides. Well, yeah, obviously the sides, or the baselines or whatever. Baskets, or there's always standing room there too if you want to move around freely. But there's definitely a lot of room for plenty of fans. So we're hoping to, have everybody show up and show out for all the Instigators games this year. And the best chance to do that, get in early. If you think you're even going to go to a few games, go ahead and get this. The early bird season tickets, it's going to run for a limited time. We don't have an exact date yet, but it will be only for a limited time in the preseason or off season, I guess technically, not preseason, but off season. And it is a good discount. So our tickets are normally about $10, or they're $10 a game. So for 10, that's half price. So you're saving yourself half price right there. And like I said, if you're thinking of you going to a few games, if you're thinking, maybe I'll go to like 3, 4 games. Well, you can get all 10 games plus any home playoff or play-in games for just an extra, one extra ticket cost. Or obviously if you're already planning on going to 5 games, go ahead and get this ahead of time, and you got yourself set. Any extra games there, you make out with. So a nice opportunity for all our fans here. Get your early bird season tickets. Again, I think we're going to be launching the post here over the weekend. But you can also, if you're watching this live, scan that QR code and go through the route that way now, and get yourself the early bird season tickets. Again, this is only going to be running for a limited time. So go ahead and get your tickets now before that discount disappears, and you get to save yourself some money, enjoy some games. This is always a great family friendly atmosphere. So if you want to buy the whole family season tickets, right now is a great time. Get everybody those early bird season tickets, and then you guys can plan on each and every week. But we should have the schedule announcement coming out soon. And if you go over on the ticketing site, actually, we might as well share that. So if you scan that QR code, it'll get you over to this. Which, if you take a look, it's gonna be a teaser here for some of the games. Again, nothing is officially announced, but you can see some of our opponents, just in case you're wondering who we'll be playing. We've already talked about who we will be playing, but these could possibly be some of the games coming up. But you can see there familiar teams and uh, you know possibly some dates. Again, nothing not finalized yet, but teasers. You got 10 games, again, 10 home games, running all the way through February 2026, starting at the beginning of November. Reminder, we're going to be starting on the road this season. Hasn't We haven't officially announced the full schedule, but it was announced. We're going to have a doubleheader weekend for the opening weekend, and we're going to be on the road. But you see there, it looks like possibly our first home game might be against a familiar opponent there with the Ohio Kings. Looks like that could possibly be November 8th. Um, but you see some other familiar names on here: the Shuckers, um, the Legends, and the Monsters. Monsters we didn't get to play this past season, but we were scheduled to play them. Shuckers, again, a team that we've played preseason. And a new team for or newer team within the ABA. Last season they were an exhibition team, and they're making the step up to the full-time ABA team this year. So they're definitely going to be very competitive, and wouldn't be shocked to see if some former Instigators wind up on that roster, being that we have gotten a lot of talent based from the Shuckers in the past. And the Legends, the team that we faced off multiple times throughout both of our seasons, and we had our first play in game on season 1 against the Legends. So another familiar local team that we love playing. Monsters, again, hopefully we get that one in this year. But you see there an idea of maybe some of those games. See the early bird season tickets, $49.99 discount for you right now. But that is, again, limited time. So go over to the site, get your tickets now. or get them soon before that limited time offer goes up. And again, if you know somebody that you think would like to go to the games too, go ahead and share that, tag them, let them know too once we post this on the socials, that they can go and get themselves a discount half price for their tickets if they get these early bird season tickets. It also, again, includes any playoff games or play-in games. Obviously, this season we are aiming to have play-off games and not play-in games. That is going to be, one of the things we hope to make that distinction this year. And again, we talked about the scheduling a little bit in some previous episodes. I think that at least among our ownership group, and I think among the fans as well, is that the new scheduling has a chance to help increase our wins and hopefully boost our rankings within the division to the point where we're able to get a playoff spot rather than play in, as we have the first two seasons. And hopefully we have better finishing record than we have had in the first two seasons. There's a chance, I think, for us more realistically to have a winning record for the first time at the end of the season to finish the season with a winning record. Um, so that is, the two big instigators news pieces this week. Another thing in line with the instigators, a couple of weeks back, let's see, I think I still got the graphic for it. The instigators were on the number '06 car of Brayton Laster for his race in Michigan. We wound up being on the car again. Let me pull this up so I've got the right tracks up here. But the number '06 Arca Menards car of Brayton Laster at Michigan had some mechanical issues, as we see here. So the car, there's some pictures of the car. You can see the Instigators logo on the hood there. And the following week, he actually had us back on the car, on the trunk area for the race in Berlin. And I don't have a picture of that one, but we were on the car again for the race in Berlin, and he wound up using the backup car. If you did read that for that race at Michigan, his Berlin car, and then this past week he had another race. And where is that? At Elko Speedway, um, another Arkham Menards race. So he actually had us on the car again this past week. So cool to be on a car multiple times here. You can see we're pretty pretty centrally located there on the deck lid of the trunk. So that's pretty cool. And you also see it, something we briefly mentioned, the different manufacturers on the car as well. So there's obviously a Toyota, and there's a Ford there. And I think this week he's running a Chevy. But with the smaller teams, it's kind of just you build what you got, and they don't always have manufacturing support. So it is what you bring up to the track, and that is sometimes with these smaller teams, a mix of different manufacturers. And I always think that's kind of cool though when you have a team that can do that, because then you get these different unique paint schemes, or um, you know different sponsors and stickers on these cars. But week in and week out, he does always have opportunities if anyone's interested to jump on the car. But cool to be a part of that a few times already this year. And hopefully we continue to be on the car some more. A teaser, I would say, we'll probably be making like more of an official announcement, maybe in the next week or so. But a little teaser: there is a race coming up in Indianapolis for the Arkham Nard series. That race is at the Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park (IRP), and not the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but IRP is still a rather famous track there in Indy, and that is at the end of next month. So I'd keep an eye out for that one. Possibly we will see if we wind up on the car for that. Just a teaser. But I'd keep an eye out maybe for an announcement in the next week or two. I think we may have something coming up for that. So here's again, this episode is going to be full of just little teasers like that. Obviously with the scheduling, and then now with the Instigators logo on the '06 car. So if that's going to be, I think that's going to be our first time in the local area relative to the team being on a car. So hopefully that gives you guys enough advance notice if you are in the area. I would potentially plan on trying to make it out to that race. And it is, I'm pulling up the schedule right now. I think it is the 25th of July, if I'm not mistaken. It is Friday, July 25th. So that is it's actually a double header event. So for those of you into racing, that is going to be at Arkham Menards at 5:30, and then the truck race, NASCAR Truck Series racing, shortly after following. So that's again, I know we briefly mentioned this, but Frankie Muniz is in the truck series. So might be pretty cool if we're on a car that Frankie Muniz gets to see on track. But regardless, keep an eye out for that. I think over the next week or two, gonna have to gonna have to keep an eye out and maybe have some kind of announcement for that. Um, but that's just some teasers. As we continue to ramp up in the off season, I that's the Instigators news that we got for this week. Let's check in with the Oakland Ballers. We've been doing that for most of the off season here too, and since their season started, we'll jump over and take a look at their recent games. Lots of W's, lots of green, so that is always great to see for the Ballers. Crazy scores on some of these, though. I mean, we're looking all the way back to the beginning of June. Um, but the 14th, man, 22-11. That is a crazy score against the Raptors there. But you see this past weeks, I guess. Won out most of these games here. One loss there to the Glacier Range Riders. But following the last week, as far as our podcast goes, 10-6, they wrapped up that game against the Riders, both on the 20th and the 21st, same score. And then on Sunday, they had a 15-3. That's again a lot of high scoring games for the Ballers. Then this week they dropped the first game against the Boise Hawks 14-13. Again, still very high scoring games. Then two wins over the past couple of days, 17-7 and 15-2. And then they're live now. Let's see if just started. So top of the first. Top of the first, we're at 5 runs already. So Ballers continuing to ball out, quite literally the team name. Um, but 5 runs already in the first inning. So I'd say we're off to a good start here for sure. Um, yeah, so we had 1 home run there. Single and then a 3-run home run and another single RBI. So good start for the Ballers. Um, but yeah, you can check out their website. Keep up on there as well. But 5-run first inning, great start there. Uh, and it looks like they're going to have a good series here against the Boise Hawks before they head on the road against the Rocky Mountain Vibes next week. So that is what's up with the Ballers. Up to 20 wins now on the season, but continuing strong effort and high scoring as well. So that is always great to see. And we'll continue to check in throughout the off season or throughout the Instigators off season during the regular season there for the Ballers. Um, but good to see that. And looks like we're on the road with this one here in Boise. Again, we're going to stay on the road then before coming home though afterwards. But on the road again against the Rocky Mountain Vibes. So that is how the Ballers stand currently. We'll take a look too. Corey's not here, Frosty, but he has the cricket minute. Not gonna act like I fully understand cricket rules, but we will still keep it going in honor of his tradition that he started the past couple of weeks. And I am just gonna show the Google scoring because again, I don't really understand how cricket fully works, but we'll take a look over the past week. So that would be from last week. Unicorns, he was talking about that game. So Unicorns defeated the Kings. Again, some cool names here. Unicorns obviously being one of them. And let's see. Oh yeah, if we zoom in, you can kind of see that team logo. That's pretty cool. But you also got the Orcas. That's another cool name there. But close game there, I think, as far as the scoring goes. Freedom over New York. The Knight Riders. That's also a good name there. Um, yeah, Orcas and Knight Riders. But Knight Riders over the Orcas. Freedom again with another win there. Unicorns though with it looks like multiple wins throughout this week. And if we look at today, right now live is New York versus the Orcas. So that is about as much as I can tell you on that with Major League Cricket, and I'm sure Corey can probably explain that better. But some of these games look pretty close, it looks like. But again, I'm not going to pretend that I fully understand how cricket scoring works. So that is the tradition being upheld for the cricket minute. So that's what we got for that. Um, but as far as the ABA goes, they are continuing to grow. We've already talked about some of the new teams coming up in the upcoming season, and the ABA even just posted on their person on the on the league website. They are still looking to continue to grow, and let's see if I can get this pulled up here. But they're continuing to grow, and they still have openings for more expansion. So they are still looking for more teams to join the league. Obviously, already like the largest professional sports league, as far as I'm aware, in the United States. Um, over 150 plus teams there. Um, yeah, and I don't know if I got cut off, but the thing on their website doesn't come through the greatest. Um, but yeah, they're still looking for more teams. They've already announced that they are opening expansion again for the 2026-2027 season. So keep an eye out for that. But there's still going to be more teams in the ABA for this 2025-2026 season. Always crazy to me whenever we're announcing seasons, as far as like we're on season three, going into season three, which is crazy to think about every time I say that. And I'm sure if you've been along since the beginning, and especially if you came over from, the fan controlled side, as we were fans from that, growing into this, and ultimately, um, you know, launching the Apex Athletic Collective, and then going into ownership with the Hoosier State Instigators, jumping into that venture. Season three is crazy to think about because, especially with those fan controlled fans, the family, obviously from over there. Um, there was two fan controlled seasons. So fan controlled, FCF, 2 seasons. When we take the court this time around, we literally can say we created a product that outlasted the initial thing that kind of spawned this whole idea. So to me, it's always just something that blows my mind, whenever I think about it, and to say the years and think about all the progress we've made. 2025 2026 season coming up, crazy. But obviously we wouldn't be able to do it without also support of our fans, and everybody that's helped get us here. Players, sponsors, coaches. Um, but again, truly, this was an idea, launched by the fans, and obviously we hope to continue to grow that. We've got the ballers aspect for the Apex Athletic Collective. I mentioned we've got some ideas with racing. We're on a couple of different. We've been on a couple of cars, with Brad Perez, now with Brayton Laster, and hopefully we continue to do more and more stuff. Um, but it's just always kind of crazy to think about, when it comes to that. um, but yeah, so that's coming up in a few months now, will be season three, and we will be taking the court. It's not going to be one of those, again, if you're from the fan control side of thing, coming soon type of things. We have stuff already booked. We will 100%, I can tell you that, be on the court for season three. And it'll be one for the record books. We are definitely trying to get it for this time around to go to the playoffs, not the play-ins. That I think is the big major goal, this time around. Obviously, the last season we thought, kind of how things started. That was a possibility, but we're doing everything we can to make that a reality this season. But how does that all start? It starts at tryouts. So again, tryouts are July 12th at the Harrison Center in Indianapolis, 1 p.m. Eastern. And sign up now. Save yourself $10 compared to coming to the door to sign up, 65 rather than 75. And share and tag everybody that you think would be interested in joining the Instigators, or anybody you think would be a good fit for the team. Again, it's going to depend on the player pool that we have showing up here, if we have another tryout following this, or if this is going to be, if there's enough good players here to round out our roster, this is this could possibly be one of the last tryouts for the off season. We are really trying to get the roster set ahead of time. Again, obviously, we want to have the most chemistry and familiarity with each other and the team going into the ABA season. I think we saw this past year how things kind of picked up in the beginning of the season rather than compared to our first season. And a lot of that, I think, had to do with the guys playing throughout the summer off-season games, building that team chemistry, learning each other's, the different ways they play, and just getting familiar with having the same guys on the court. So that's really, again, we're trying to do that again this season, and one of the other things is trying to have that roster or the roster locked. Kind of set so that way there's not as much fluidity with that. Obviously, it's impossible to not have any, but we're trying to minimize that as much as possible as far as the fluidity with the roster once the season does start. So that is, again, how everything starts is by tryouts. Show up, show out, have an opportunity to get signed. As the line that I always wind up using, it's everywhere I go, I've always used this one. It's not my line. I'm sure everybody knows whose line it is. Obviously from a famous rap song. Um, you know, Possibly something to do with spaghetti. But one chance, one opportunity, and this is it right here, July 12th at the Harrison Center, Indianapolis, 1 p.m. for the Hoosier State Instigators. Show up, show out, ball out, get yourself signed to a pro deal for the upcoming ABA season. But again, it all starts with one chance, one opportunity. It's even on my board at work. But that's the big news for the Instigators this week. Obviously, then share this with any players that you think would be good. If you're a player, sign up. And then for the fans, if we got all these great players coming, joining the team for the upcoming season, get yourself the early bird season tickets. Again, those are up and live now. We'll be putting the social media post out this weekend, and share it and enjoy some family-friendly fun throughout the fall, winter, and spring. I think the games cover all those seasons, maybe, or maybe it's just winter mostly. But either way, it's like November through February. Maybe that is winter. But anyway, s- you know, uh, uh, get yourself season tickets. You'll get 10 tickets for half the price if you buy those early bird season tickets. It's only $49.99 rather than the 10 per game. And it also includes tickets to any play in or play off games. Again, we are going to we'll manifest it, be in the playoffs this year. So hopefully it includes those play off games rather than play in games. But that is what we got going on with your Instigators. Again, be on the lookout over the next week or two. We may have kind of another racing announcement. And again, it may or may not have something to do with the ARCA race there in Indianapolis at IRP. So if you're in the area, maybe think about planning on going out to that race too. But again, we'll have announcements on everything coming up. But first things first, tryouts, July 12th, just a couple of weeks away. Early bird season tickets, limited time. Take advantage of that offer before it goes away. And once the time is right, we'll be making an announcement, I think, for possibly being on the 06 car again. So keep an eye out for that. But I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode of Instigate Success. It's been a wonderful episode 95, again, only 5 away from 100. Just a reminder for everyone who's been tuning in on Saturdays for Instigate Success, or no, not Instigate Success. That's this show. Instigate Success is Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, every week. Host, with your host here. But another show we've been running on Saturdays, amateur night during the day, is on a brief hiatus for the next couple of weeks. We'll be returning after that shortly, but it will be back. But it will not be running for the next couple of weeks. Have a little bit of a break here, but we'll be back in just a couple weeks with more Penguins baseball. And if you haven't caught that, go and check out our previous streams, whether that's on our YouTube channel, the Instigators YouTube, or if it's on the Twitch, if you're watching on Twitch, the Apex Athletic Collective Twitch. But that's just a reminder for the next couple of weeks. But we'll be back after that for more Penguins baseball, and then we'll probably have a show coming up shortly after with some roller derby. So lots of more fun stuff coming up with the Hoosier State Instigators and Apex Athletic Collective. But again, that's going to be it for tonight's episode. Tryouts on the 12th. Get your early bird season tickets. And until next time, as always, be great and instigate.